I'm Matt McClure, and this is Currents.
With so many moving parts in the church, you need a network.
You're able to access the schedules of over 1,000 people throughout the diocese.
Getting buzzed about the faith.
You can quickly go from a small church, maybe physically, to a very large following online.
And evangelization on the go, preaching and podcasting.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on this Friday. Francesca Maxime has the night off. Well, that means I'm all alone here in the studio, and they're just leaving me to my own devices. As dangerous as that may sound, I wanted to actually take some time today to look at some devices the church is using to spread the gospel. I'm talking about technology and the church. We'll call this episode Megabytes with Matt. And the tools being used online and in handheld devices like iPhones and Blackberries are numerous, so we've got a lot of ground to cover here on Currents tonight. First up, here in the Diocese of Brooklyn, they're using a new tool to keep people who work for and volunteer for the diocese connected. And I met a man this week who's very passionate about that and that this technology could help your parish in many, many ways. Well, Michael, first of all, what exactly is Dionet?
Oh, Dionet, the name itself is one that we've given the system. The system is truly called First Class. We've rebranded it for our specific uses. And the system in its core is a basic email calendaring and contact list system. It allows us to have a lot of people interact in different ways through instant messaging, through email, through calendar sharing, as well as conferences that allow us to truly integrate and share ideas.
Why is it important for the diocese to have a tool like Dionet?
Brooklyn and Queens is just notoriously difficult to travel. So we need to be able to communicate without having to physically move around.
Well, how successful has Dionet been so far?
It's been moderately successful. We've had two major hurdles. The first one was people's attachment to their previous system. The other big hurdle we've had is there's a number of people who just have not taken the time to come in for the training to get access to the system. I'm not sure why yet, and that's something we're looking at right now. Is it a geographical thing, or is it no interest? We're looking at that right now.
Okay, so now that I know a little about Dionet, how about getting a little hands-on and showing me around?
Sure, let's go.
Okay.
We're going to start by going into simply the Internet Explorer.
Okay, so we're going here.
This product, Dionet, is platform independent. So we can access it whether it be from its own client or from any Internet Explorer on any computer with Internet access. See, in the past, the diocese had Exchange and Outlook. Yeah. And we had about 300 people on it, and we tried to run the diocese with it. But we said to ourselves, we can't communicate appropriately with the parishes, with the principals at some of our schools. We can't communicate with other vicariates, other agencies that are outside of our main buildings. In its core, it's what everybody is used to, which is an email system with calendaring and contacts.
Right.
Unlike Outlook, it can actually display your incoming and outgoing mail in one list. So it keeps threads, okay, or conversations together. Let's click on calendar.
All right.
We're able to set up central areas where we can post different kinds of information with all the different events that the bishop is attending or different events that are being held by different agencies. And it helps us keep people informed as to what's going on throughout the diocese. Yeah. Now think about this. You're able to access the schedules of over 1,000 people throughout the diocese. One of the best places that most people realize they need information is from human resources. Yeah. How many times have we needed a form to fill out for direct deposit or to change my dependents or anything like that? So if you take a look, now all the parishes and schools have access to these forms.
Wow. It's a great tool to have.
And the hope is we get the priests to do what they always say. They always tell us, we're not here to administrate, we're here to preach. If I can save time for the pastors and the priests and the deacons, then they have more time to spend with their constituents. And that's our ultimate goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Our goal is to try and reduce the amount of time spent on anything and everything so that people have more time to do what we're really here for.
And for more on DioNet, you can head on over to our blog, go to netny.net/currents, and click on Riding the Wave. Stay tuned, we've got a lot more megabytes with Matt coming up on this special episode of Currents. In just a bit, we'll take a look at how another diocese is sharing information with the faithful.
Coming up, as far as he's concerned, tweeting is all the buzz.
People can share so quickly now using these tools.
Welcome back to this special edition of Currents, Megabytes with Matt. I'm Matt McClure. Today we're looking at technology and the church, so we wanted to see what you thought about it. We went to several Brooklyn parishes to ask parishioners the question, do you think the church should be using new technology to spread its message? Take a look.
We gotta spread the word any possible way that is available. You know, as long as it's a good one, as long as for a good purpose, everything, you know, we gotta really fill, you know, all the internet and all the media with good messages.
I think it's too much of that. With the texting, with the Twitter, with the this. It's making children not be children, and it's making adults do crazy things.
Facebook, I don't know. I really think they don't need. They got bulletin boards, they've got the streets, they have people to talk with mouth and mouth. You really don't need the internet. I don't see what the point of it is. It's really just for people to talk, socialize, socializing network.
It seems like the trend with a lot of the politicians and stuff, will it work? It might, you know, reach other people, but I'm not a big fan of it myself.
It's got a lot of potential, and the reality is, unfortunately, I've already learned, kids don't check email. I mean, I'm already moving to how do I communicate with kids? You got to text to them.
The internet is used for everything from pornography to advertisement, so I don't see why it shouldn't be also used to preach the good news.
The internet is a little dehumanizing. There's less of a human touch, so I think avoiding it is probably is better for everybody.
The easier, the better for people to get to know that if it wasn't for Christ and God, there would be no internet.
I think we're too much in the old way. We need to grow with what's going on in today's world to get our younger people to be more involved.
You might as well, if that's where the kids are, because we sure know there's more kids probably right now online than there are in church. So
I think everything is all right how it is.
Why not? It's free and it's available, really.
Well, definitely a wide range of opinions there. I mean, you had everything from people saying, no, you have to avoid it at all costs, avoid new media, and then some people saying, well, you know, that's where the people are, so that's where you got to go. So definitely a wide range of opinions there. But, you know, like it or not, technology really has become a big part of our daily lives. Just about everybody has a Facebook page. Even my mom has one, and that's saying something. Well, more and more people, including celebrities, are tweeting on Twitter, too. So just how can the church use social media technology to its advantage? Well, for a little insight, I turn to someone who uses social media to market his clients. Dave Kirpin is the Chief Buzz Officer at the K-Buzz. Dave, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Great to be here.
First of all, tell me a little about K-Buzz and what you do.
Sure. So the K-Buzz is a social media marketing firm, and we help our clients navigate the waters of social media. We help them figure out what it is they should be doing on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on MySpace, on Yelp, on blogs. It seems like every day there's a new social media platform that folks are talking about, and we help them kind of figure out what their role should be and then help them execute that role. Right. And we work with a really wide variety of clients, so some very big companies as well as small businesses, government agencies. We work with New York City and Boston, and nonprofits as well.
Cool. Well, very good. Now, this is all kind of part of a series of technology and the church. Religious organizations, groups dealing with the church, involved in churches or different religious groups. How are they coming along in using social media to help spread their particular message?
Well, I think there are two big ways that religious groups can utilize social media and are currently utilizing social media. The first is to gather people, right? Social media represents the fastest and most efficient way to spread the word in the history of communications. So if you're a church and you want to, get more members, get more followers, get more folks involved, if you build a robust Facebook presence or Twitter presence, you can get a lot of fans very, very quickly, and you can quickly go from a small church, maybe physically, to a very large following online. Right. And I think the second way, and this hasn't been used quite as much, but I see more and more churches and religious organizations doing this moving forward, is actually using social media to have live discussions and services. Lifechurch.tv live streamed Christmas Mass last year for thousands of Facebook fans. And I know I work with a Jewish group that is doing live streaming of Rosh Hashanah services coming up in this fall. And I think that represents an incredible opportunity to reach countless numbers of folks that maybe don't have a church nearby, or maybe they're have a disability and they can't get out to church. They can actually still participate in live services.
Yeah. Well, that being said, and talking about using social media actually in the context of a worship service or some type of service like that, it is not often, and I'll say this, it's not often that we have a guest in the studio who has their BlackBerry out in their lap. Right. But this is a special occasion because we're going to show you right now, I guess, kind of how social media works and how quickly it works. Because just before you walked in to the studio, you tweeted a little bit.
I did. I just, people think that Twitter is very complicated, but in fact, I have it on my phone, and I tweeted, about to film a segment about religion and social media. What are your thoughts? And I have like 3,500 followers right now. And so a couple of them immediately tweeted back to me. One said, I don't like religion mixing with social media, but I don't actually like religion that much. And then somebody else sent me an article about a church that actually has a pastor who's tweeting his sermon live from church. Right. So how cool is that? That first of all, I got a great example to talk about with you. Yeah. But second of all, you can see how quickly things can spread and how ideas can travel and people can share so quickly now using these tools. I mean, it's never been possible before.
Right, and that's one thing. I mean, some people will ask, and I've often asked myself this as well. I'm probably a little behind the curve on this. I don't have my own Twitter account because I've been kind of more on the Facebook side of things because there are just a lot more things that you can do on Facebook that you can't do on Twitter. But that would be, when folks have asked me about this, that would be the advantage of, I guess, Twitter over Facebook, is that it is just a simple, quick sort of thing that you can do to keep updated.
Right. It's an incredible way, for instance, to crowdsource ideas or thoughts or suggestions or getting feedback. So that's kind of how I used it just now. And I think because of its simplicity, it's grown as fast as it has. I'm a huge fan of Facebook, don't get me wrong. Yeah. I have our firm manages over 100 Facebook pages, probably the most, I think, amongst marketing firms out there. And we believe very, very strongly in the power of Facebook. Yeah. But what I love about Twitter is its simplicity. Yeah. And whether you want to use Twitter to talk about what you're doing or more valuable things like building a following around a particular topic, right. Twitter can be very effective. So if I start a Twitter account just about Catholic goings-on in Brooklyn and Queens, for instance, I could tweet news articles, everything that's going on in parishes in Brooklyn and Queens, and the only people that would follow me would be people that want to hear about all of that, but that would be a very, very targeted, focused group that I'm building. Yeah. And you can see how it might be relevant if I was, potentially a pastor or had kind of a specific, spiritual or religious purpose there.
Right. And we here at Currents, actually, we have our own Twitter account, which is twitter.com/currentsny. So
hold on, I'm following you right now.
See, it's how fast it happens. It's amazing. Well, where do you see things going from here? I mean, Let me put it this way. Has there been a lot of resistance maybe from some religious groups in using this type of social media?
I think there's been a lot of resistance overall.
Yeah.
I think when technology changes as fast as it has, there's going to be a lot of resistance in general, and specifically from nonprofits and religious organizations that are traditionally conservative. And people don't realize just how quickly this is happening. Email took 15 years to fully come to fruition. 15 years. And now we all take it for granted.
Right.
Social media, it's been like 2 years. And in arguably 3 years, it's gone from being non-existent to everyone you know has a Facebook account, and everyone you know is talking about Twitter. Even if they don't have a Twitter account, they see it on Oprah or Ashton Kutcher, and so they're at least talking about it.
Right.
And so organizations that are slow moving, like big companies, government organizations, nonprofits, and frankly religious organizations, are going to put up some resistance. Right. So the religious organizations that I see moving faster are those that are more progressive and liberal in nature.
Right.
I think it's going to take time for older organizations and more established religious groups to really jump into social media and start using it. Okay. But I think once they do, they're going to see tremendous returns.
Right. Okay. Well, very good. Well, we'll have to leave it there. Dave, thank you so much for being here. We'll link to your site on ours in our blog, and another type of media that we're using here. It's all around us, right?
Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Dave. We appreciate it. Well, that is Dave Kerpen, the Chief Buzz Officer at the K-Buzz, with a lot of insight on the power of new media. Well, stick around. There's a lot more Currents to come on this special Megabytes with Matt edition of Currents.
Coming up, casting the net. How about podcasting the net?
Well, welcome back to Currents. I'm Matt McClure. Today we're calling the show Megabytes with Matt, and I'm taking a look at how the church is using new technology to spread its message. Well, earlier on in the show, we've already taken a look at how the Diocese of Brooklyn stays connected through DioNet, and we've gotten some ideas on how to create a buzz about ministry through social networking. Now, okay, for this segment, you might want to get your iPod out and have it handy right there, okay? The podcast has been around just about as long as the iPod, and it seems like these days just about everyone has an iPod or an iPhone or some sort of MP3 player or device. And with that in mind, the Busted Halo Cast takes to the internet with a new episode every week. I recently headed out to Manhattan to check it out.
Okay, we have a question this week.
Yeah, angels and demons.
Oh, right. Okay. Good to go?
Oh, hey, guys.
Hey, Matt. Hey. How's it going?
Oh, yeah, I'm kind of slumming it today, because I don't have to worry about the cameras. The microphones don't really pick up the T-shirt here, so I thought I'd... All right, let's do this.
Welcome to the Busted Halo Cast. I'm Mike Hayes.
I am Father Dave Dwyer of the Paulist Fathers.
And I am Brittany Janis.
And on today's Busted Halo Cast,
we've got questions, as always, questions of faith, and today it's about angels and demons.
Uh-oh.
In fact, just a couple days ago at Mass, I was preaching, it's that one where they all go into the pigs, and the pigs jump off the cliff. And they're like, send us into the pigs.
Sound like Danny DeVito was the penguin.
I think that means our angels and demons discussion is complete.
I have now officially ruined the podcast. I will be exiting now.
No, you've rounded it out nicely, I think.
Yeah. So Matt, what brings you by?
This is all part of a technology series that we're doing on Currents, and what I wanted to do was kind of see what types of technology are being used, in this case a podcast, to reach people and to spread the Catholic message. So my question for you guys would probably be, Where did this all start?
Where did that start?
Funny you should ask. It turned out Father Dave and I both have a radio background. Father Dave was a crazy rock and roll DJ, and
Happy Dave in the morning.
That's so awesome.
and I did some sports stuff and some news stuff and produced talk shows and things like that. And someone came up to us and said, "You guys should do podcasting." And this was what, 5 years ago now?
Yeah, I'm good with math.
So we ended up just putting it together, and we said, well, okay, now we know how to do this. What do we want to podcast? And from our own pastoral experience, we found that most people just want an answer to a question.
And so we figured, well, that's what people need. That's what people want. Let's do that via podcasting.
You guys have had obviously a lot of questions. I think today was number 205.
Podcast 205.
Podcast number 205. Would you step forward, please? No, you're the next contestant on. No, but what I guess are some of the more interesting questions that you guys have answered?
Where did demons come from? Well, what did Thomas Aquinas have to say?
I think my favorite one was the other day. We had someone ask, does the near occasion of sin, is the near, putting yourself in the near occasion of sin a sin itself?
Mike and I being like, so here are some near occasions of sin you could find yourself in. It's always fun.
So don't.
So don't.
Right.
I missed that one because of a near occasion of sin.
I don't think so.
No, I injured myself or
That was
something.
your knee.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of other things does Busted Halo do? What kind of other things do you do? I know you, Father, do a Sirius show?
Sirius XM satellite radio. We're on 5 nights a week. And Mike was around at the foundation of BustedHalo.com, which is our web magazine.
Basically, it's a web magazine that Bill McGarvey, our editor-in-chief, runs upstairs, and he does basically, faith, everyday life, not so far apart, and we do one different article every day. It's basically, we say, how many balls can we keep juggling in the air and keep doing different kinds of forms of media while we're doing it, because that's where people are.
Your name, at least in our office at NET, has become so synonymous with the Googling God thing that I actually had written down on my notes, Mike, the God Googler Hayes.
Your boss, Deacon Greg, had a picture of him and me on his blog. It said the Deacon and the God Googler.
That's great.
That was funny.
So, well, apparently I wasn't the first to coin the phrase. I thought I had come up with something, a little witty, but apparently...
No.
Net TV.
Right. It's
new evangelization television.
That is it.
Not your grandmother's Catholic TV. Well, Matt, we hope you had a good time here on the podcast.
I had a great time. Thanks for having me, guys.
Matt McClure, it's netnewyork.net.
That's it.
Oftentimes, they don't get to see the behind the scenes at the Busted Halo cast, so this will be cool.
Yeah.
Get to see what we all look like.
Well, maybe don't check it out.
If you're watching us on net, give us a call, 917-591-8476. We'll answer your questions of faith as well, here on the Busted Halo cast.
Well, the Busted Halo cast there, it's so much fun. And if they invite me back, I think I may dress up a little. Maybe not this much, but, a little like maybe business casual, I guess. Megabytes with Matt continues here on Currents when we come back.
Coming up, logging on to a more spiritual life.
It's another medium to spread the gospel on the internet, video. It's a great way to get the message out across.
Well, tonight here on Currents, I've been looking at technology and the church. We're calling it Megabytes with Matt. Catchy title, huh? Well, if you have a computer with an internet connection, chances are you've logged on to YouTube at some point to check out a video or two. Still, you've probably never heard of .tube until now. It's a website the Diocese of Trenton has started so they can upload their videos and so parishioners can do the same. I recently headed west, or is it south? Well, maybe southwest, on a very hot summer day to check it out. Well, it was another hot and muggy day in New York, so I decided to drive out to New Jersey, see if the weather was any better. If the weather's not any better. So I'm going to go inside here to the Diocese of Trenton Pastoral Center to see if I can find out about this thing they're doing called .tube. I wonder what it's all about. Find out about .tube. Guys, first of all, thanks for having me over. I really appreciate it. What is .tube?
It's a video sharing site for the Diocese of Trenton. As you know, we produce a lot of video from Real Faith TV to Catholic Corner, and it's a place where that video can live, essentially. And we've invited parishes to come out and add to that as well, and to have a community where we can share share our life in Christ.
Where was this born from? I mean, where did the idea for something like .tube come from?
I was just about to give Alex props on that. Alex, that was Alex's idea.
What happened was that one day we were talking a lot. I said we gotta put our videos in YouTube or someplace. We gotta do it because that's what everybody says. So well, in a month you say we're gonna start working on this, and that's how it started.
We were talking about getting the word out about .tube. How has the response been so far prior to that?
The response has been very positive, very positive. Yeah, it's a new way to spread the gospel. You know, it's another medium to spread the gospel on the internet, video. And people are watching video all the time. They're on TV, they're on their iPhones, they're watching video. So it's a great way to get the message out across.
All right, well, now that I know kind of the ropes about .tube and what it's about, let me see how it works.
Sure, come to my office and I'll show you how the fun starts.
All right, let's do it. Show me around kind of the basics here.
Sure, and welcome to my office.
Thank you.
It's .tube.org. From here, of course, they could go to the media part, so they can watch specific videos or upload videos here. When you go to channels, so even you can search here like Real Faith TV, and then you can watch the episodes of Real Faith TV. Here's the one that I told you.
¿Qué tal si le enseño la canción, Carlos? Ahora sí yo creo que sí, ya. Si yo le voy a enseñar una canción que se llama La Pancita.
It's me as a clown.
Stay away from me!
It's not only for the shows that we produce here, but it's also for, you know, parishes. Let me show you this. We have these Catholic iPhone apps that has been very popular.
If your name is John and you want to find out when your feast day is celebrated in the Catholic Church, there's an app for that. And
that's the way we're doing it so far.
Awesome. Well, you guys are doing a great thing. So thank you so much for having me over. I really
Thank you.
Well, definitely a new and innovative way there to spread the Catholic message in Trenton, New Jersey. And that's really what it's been all about tonight on the show. New and innovative pieces of technology that the church is using or could be using. Got to keep that in mind to reach out. Well, that's it for this Megabytes with Matt edition of Currents. But we couldn't close out a show about the church and technology without mentioning something that is very close to home. Very, very close, in fact. Beginning on Monday, Currents will have a brand new website with a brand new look and a new address. The new address will be currentsny.net. And when you log on there on Labor Day, you'll see a fresh new look. It's designed to be user-friendly. You'll be able to check out our latest stories and some pieces from our archive as well. You'll also get to meet some of the people on the air and behind the scenes. Get to see all the people that make Currents happen. You'll also be able to check out our blog, as always, Riding the Wave. The content is going to be the same pretty much, but the new address is currentsny.net. Check it out beginning Monday, Labor Day. Now, also on Monday, most of us are going to be have the day off, but not Lino Rulli. Oh no, we never let him rest at all. Join Lino for Labor Day with Lino. Some of his favorite moments from the summer and a few surprises will be in store too. You won't want to miss it. So stay tuned. I'll be back here on Tuesday as well, so tune in for that. Meantime, have a great and safe holiday weekend. For all of us here at Currents, I'm Matt McClure. Good night.